Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Chatting with Wisdom. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Rollie Allaire. Kikado Migudnkwe is my spirit name, and I'm your host of Chatting with Wisdom. Chatting with Wisdom is a weekly interview series of featuring amazing women. There are different ways that women are amazing, and let's celebrate that. So I invite you to join me in my private Facebook group, Mind, Body, Heart, and Soul Connection. And you can also find a similar group on Telegram that I've been using this year to share positivity. And today I would like to welcome, and of course my screen just disappeared, so I'm gonna go and find
All good.
find it, Di. And so Di Hill is a women's empowerment and abundance coach focused on helping midlife women live from their truth so that they can create magnificent life of their dreams. Di coaches women all over the world, privately and in group programs, hosts workshops and retreats to help all women ascend onto the person they were designed to be. She has published a book in 2022 called Authentic, Aligned, and Abundant, your triple guide to creating your magnificent life, designed to show you exactly how to create your life. And so this is wonderful. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank
And
you so much.
and for those of you who follow the live weekly, you know that today is Tuesday, so we had to postpone from last week. So I am glad that Di was able to reschedule and join us this morning. So how are you?
No problem. I'm very well, thank you. And it's the afternoon where I am because I'm all the way in sunny South Africa in Cape Town. You can hear I'm a Brit, but I've actually lived here for 13 years now. So I actually consider this my home.
Nice. Beautiful. So tell me a little bit about a little bit more about yourself. Like, how did you get into this life of authenticity?
Okay, so I would say that my, let's call it a spiritual journey, started about 5.5 years ago. And at that time, I went back to the UK for the first time on my own since having children. And I had this incredible week where I kind of discovered myself again. And in that time, I really started enjoying and finding the real Di underneath all the armor and all the nonsense I told myself for years. And there she was, able to have fun, able to relax and enjoy herself. And after that particular week, what happened? Sorry, there's a problem with the lighting here. After that week, I came back and I was very discontented, and it created like a lot of issues within inside of me. I didn't know where I was going. I was basically having a midlife crisis, let's put it that way. So I actually employed a life coach and started unpicking a few bits and pieces. I started meditating. I started reading articles about mindfulness and tapping into your spirituality. And then in September 2018, I went to New York to visit a really good friend who had moved there. And in the space of 24 hours, I heard my name 7 times, to the point where after the 6th time, I actually sent a message to my then personal coach saying, I'm starting to get a bit freaked out. I never hear my name. And I'd heard it in all kinds of ways. I'd heard it in a movie where Diane Keaton was like a miserable midlife mum who was bored and lived sort of through her children. Another one where in a book she was like portrayed as a middle-class secretary who's a bit dowdy. And then on the train into Manhattan, I heard someone consoling their friend Diane over a relationship problem. And my head was sort of starting to explode. The last time I heard my name, this is my spiritual awakening story, I decided to go down to the Twin Towers Memorial site, somewhere I hadn't been before, and I'd been totally putting off because I knew it was going to be, very emotional, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it. So I walked down there, pushed my way through to the crowds, and stood at one of the big square stone plinths where all the names are carved in. And in front of me, out of 3,000 names, was the name Diane T. Singer and her unborn child. So I just sort of stood and went, okay, burst into tears, kind of like more about the loss and what happened.
Yes.
And as I walked over the Brooklyn Bridge, I suddenly realized I'd heard my name for a seventh time. And I stood on the Manhattan side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and I stood still. I looked up, but quietly but firmly looked up to the sky and said, okay, whatever it is, whoever's talking to me, I'm listening. And that was the absolute start of everything else. Everything else just started falling into place. Books fell into my path, people came into my path. And then when I say that I do not know how I created my women's empowerment coaching business, I don't know. I'm completely led intuitively. And I created it all in lockdown. And from courses I'd started and books that I'd read and meditations I'd listened to, I just pulled all these strands together and created a beautiful 16-week program to take women on a journey of discovering who they really are, their authenticity, so they can start calling in what it is they want energetically, from manifestation and being in alignment with their soul, to actually how to call it in abundance. So then I realized there was a book inside of me. And I was like, how can I actually get this message out to people so they're living from their truth and not all the conditioning and programming? And the next day, Facebook listened, and a free masterclass for a book coach came on. And within 2 days of the masterclass, I'd already signed up. And my book, Authentic, Aligned and Abundant, which is a bit blurry because of the screen, became an international bestseller in the UK and the US. And it is a beautiful journey of discovering who you are so you can create exactly what you want.
That's
it in a nutshell.
I love that. And I love how that listening, right? So that was one of the messages that I get oftentimes. And so I pull cards for different clients and different things. And so there's one client in particular, and that was the message, is listen, right? So just listen. There's messages there, and you just need to listen. And in your case, it was your name that came up every time that you hear, that you hear your name, and every time that you make that connection. And so there's all these different messages as to what it is that's going on. And so I don't typically go around picking up feathers, but the other day I was out for a walk, and it was like, oh, there's a feather. And the little girl that we have, she's like a granddaughter. And so like whenever she's around, she keeps trying to find feathers, and then she then puts them in her bag and gets them all twisted and turned, and then they get broken. And so then it was like, and when I saw that first feather, it was like, oh, okay, so this is for Alexis. And I picked it up. And then as we're walking along, oh, there's another perfect feather. And so she had 3 feathers to choose from. And so it was like, okay, so now take that feather and go set it someplace where you're going to be able to keep it, where it's not going to get broken. But it was like, and so when I picked up the 3rd feather, it was like, okay, I'm not sure who it is that's trying to get a hold of me, but I know somebody is trying to reach me, and I'm listening. So tell me what it is. I still don't know who or what that message was. However, it was the actually, I think I got it yesterday. I think that the message came through yesterday, but it was just that that part of whatever is going on. And so, good morning, Kelly. How are you? So Kelly says, "Good morning. I will be purchasing this book." Me too. I am definitely. That was the first thing that I thought.
Such a beautiful book. It's my baby.
Well, and not just the way that you talked about it, but it was like even the book, like the book itself is just the cover is just very inviting. And so that was my I'm like, oh, I feel an attraction to that book. So
it's a pretty book as well, and it's meaty, but it's like if you see the reviews on Amazon, you'll see that it's like, thank goodness you're pulling together all these fairly, sort of esoteric, sometimes difficult to understand, especially if you are at the beginning of a spiritual journey, all these concepts together in a very easy to understand, logical process. And it's almost like I wrote the book that I needed. I mean, I refer to my book sometimes, because I'm like, oh, maybe I need to, maybe I should go and do that. That's a good idea. So I wanted to write, because there's thousands and thousands of personal development books out there. I think there's 70,000 books on finding your purpose alone. And I just wanted to bring together something that like anybody can read and actually go and enact, versus I can only get what I want if I go and sign up to, X coach here or whatever. I wanted it to be available to people.
Beautiful. And I love that. And I love
Thank
how
you.
that was one of the things. These feathers are now falling off.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you something.
So, but that's one of the things that is really important for us to be able to remember, is that not everybody is going to be connecting in the same way as the other, right? So like, it's beautiful that, so like, yes, you have your services, but you also have an opportunity for people to still have that resource and that connection. Right?
Absolutely, and it needs to be available to everybody. And I think, when we think about manifesting or creating, we're not taught to know how to do this. It's not it, but it is innately within us. But we just need to be actually shown the way. A handheld, whether that's through a book, a coach, a series, or whatever. It's whatever vehicle is available, so you can then go off and create what it is that you want.
Yep. And that makes all the difference in the world. And a lot of people think a lot of this stuff is hogwash, right? So how do you respond to that?
So I like to draw in people like Albert Einstein and start talking about quantum physics and starting to talk about energetics. I'm qualified as a law of attraction coach, so I really do understand how energetics and thoughts really create your reality. And I break it down into very easy to understand chunks. So when we realize that we are, creating our reality through our own mental lens caused by, conditioning and programming, all the nonsense we heard when we were growing up. And actually, when we use the tools to rewire our brain and strip it all back, we can start listening from here and start making choices that feel good. And when we make choices that we're feeling good, we're starting to vibrate at a higher frequency. And then we're going to start attracting that, because it's a scientific law. We're going to start attracting what it is that we want. I'm walking proof. So I'm a busy mum of three. When I say there's nothing special about me, I don't quite mean that. But, I am a normal human being. And I know how to channel into what it is that I want, and I listen to myself and I make decisions that feel right to me versus what I think I should be doing. So I'm very much about trying to get that disconnect between here and here and start listening here instead.
And it really does make a difference when we get out of our head, right? So I am, so I'm not sure whether or not you follow any type of astrology, but I am an Aquarius moon, which means that I'm always in my head. I've got all these ideas. I'm outside of the box. I've got all these different things. And in the last week, 2 weeks maybe, there's been different things that have actually happened that have put roadblocks in things that are part of my norm. And then it's like, okay, so now I have to try and figure out how to be able to get out of the box. And so yesterday I just took action. It was like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. This is what what's happening. This is how I'm going to proceed. Whether that's the right one or not the right one, I have no idea. But at this point, this is my action. This is the things that I'm doing to stop whatever it is that's happening. So there's a shift or there's a change that I need to be making, but I don't know what it is. But when I stay stuck in my area, in my Aquarius brain, then it's like, okay, it's not happening. So I have to be in that moment where I can actually take action. So I'm an Aquarius moon, but I'm an Aries fire. And so yesterday was Aries fire moon. And so, it was Aquarius fire moon.
You got busy, did you?
Okay, so this. And so like, there's certain things that I've cut out of my programming. There's certain things that I've done that it's like, okay, no, there's different signs, there's different messages. I don't know if that's the right one. And maybe I will reintroduce it. But at this point, this is what I'm doing. And this is how I'm moving forward. So I still don't know where I'm going or how I'm getting there.
Yeah, but isn't that so empowering to know that? It's like when I say to people, when we talk about the 4 stages of spiritual awakening, I say, my business, I totally surrender it. It's not a hustle, it's not a grind, it's not hard work. I literally have surrendered my business and it just flows. Life, it's in alignment with who I am. So it's easy, and people don't believe it's possible because we're taught the complete opposite. But when you can, as you were saying, kind of lean into it, go, don't know where this is going, but you know what? Today I'm going to take action. like transcending
Yeah.
the subconscious and all the beliefs we tell ourselves that like you can't do that, or you might fail, or that might be the wrong way, or don't do that. Actually, we're just going, it's actually fine. I'm just finding my way. And I
Yeah.
think to remove that as a bit of programming for people is hugely empowering, that it's okay to fall over and make mistakes. It's okay to, get an obstacle. What do we know? What do we learn from it? And find our way around it. And that's the growth.
Well, and that's exactly it, right? So, like, I have had to move. I had broken my leg while we were just prior to moving. So, I've got all these different things, and you're in the dark again, Diane.
I'm sorry. It's because it's very sunny in this room.
Okay.
So what happens is it gets very, very hot. So it kind of goes dark and light. Sorry, now I've got a stripe.
I'm like, okay, she just went into darkness.
I can't tell. It's like a little sunroom. I'm so hot in here.
So, but I've had to move. I've had to change, and so like, and then all my norm stuff is not happening because it's not going the way that it was where I was previously, and all those kinds of things. So, and it's like, and I was trying to fit everything in, and it's like, okay, this isn't working.
Yeah.
This isn't working. This isn't working. So then yesterday when I just said, okay, I'm done. So I said to my husband, okay, so I'm no longer doing this, this, and this, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, hon. And I'm like, it is like,
No.
I'm sad that chapter is closed, but at the same time, it's like, it's obviously there's a reason why I'm not supposed to be doing it. I don't know what that reason is yet, but that's like, okay, I need to just shift.
And that is that peace and flow, isn't it? Whereas most of the time, human beings are operating from a place of fear of losing control, fear of looking weak, or like I say, making a mistake or failing. So they keep keeping themselves chronically out of alignment, being driven by fear, like trying to stay safe, when actually if they just allow themselves to be in alignment with who they are, life can flow. And like you say, you've had to let go of stuff and you're like, this is cool. It's had its time, it's passed. What's next? It's either this or better. I sort of sit in this place going, what's next? Like, yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, and that's really important, but it's fearful, right? So many people get stuck in their okay, well, we need to be like, this was my plan, and like that I'm supposed to have all of these things. And yes, we are supposed to put our ducks in a row, because if we don't put our ducks in a row, then things can't happen. So we don't, there's no magic wand that just the sky doesn't just open up and fall into your lap as to what it is. You still have to take action. You still have to do the things that
take action.
But sometimes all the details that we do when we're in our head don't necessarily align with exactly what's supposed to happen or how it's supposed to flow.
And that's quite a difficult thing to teach people, because they say, well, hold on one hand, you're telling me I need clarity and I really need to get in touch with what it is that I want and pad it out and detail and add feeling. But then you're also saying, and then you're going to have to wait and trust the universe to bring it. So it is that kind of, it's that even, I think Jim Carrey said it, didn't he? He said, as far as I can tell, it's about being really, really clear about what it is that you want, and then basically letting go of the outcome of how it comes to pass. So, if I sit here in a capacity of, I don't know, this is the coaching services I provide now, my head might be in a completely different place, all these big, magnificent plans. If it happens now, great. But it will happen when it's meant to. It's not up to me to control it. But it's a leap. I do appreciate it's a massive leap of faith, and it takes intention, and it takes action, and it takes determination, it takes focus, it takes self-belief. And I also know it will not happen unless you get underneath your belief system. So you can say it and think positively and all that sort of stuff. But if you still really energetically vibrate at a totally different place, you'll never get what you want, ever.
And that vibration is something that's really important. And so, and when we don't, and when we're not being authentic to ourselves. And so, we've had some circumstances that have had me having to try and figure out and sort out how to be able to respond and deal with certain family members. And so I have really had a hard time with trying to be able to adapt and change and shift. And so a few weeks ago, I came to a realization that it is holding me down in terms of my vibration. This person frequencies at a very low vibration, very negative, very difficult to deal with. And my approach with my clients is like, okay, cut certain people out of your life, but we can't always cut people out of our life. And in this particular case, that's not one that I can do. And so it's like, but how can I survive? Because like this person keeps dragging my frequency back down, and how do I get my frequency back up? And so on Friday was that awakening, is that I had that conversation. It was like, okay, I'm done. This is the scoop. This is what you need to know. This is what is not working for me. And so that person was able to, and it's like that person didn't realize to what extent was impacting everybody else around them. And so from here on in is when there is something going on, then it's not going to be a pileup of things anymore. It's going to be immediate, the same way that I deal with anybody else. But at this point, it's we weren't able to do that with this person. It was like walking on eggshells and not really sure. No. And so now it's like, yeah, that's not happening anymore. So as of Friday, it's like no more. There's no holds bar anymore. We have
and that's a boundary setting thing, isn't it? It's about putting in those kind of energetic, like an energetic force field. And actually, I say to my clients, I say, well, you've got one of three options. You're raising your vibe, and because you're happier, they'll shift potentially and they'll come to your high vibe party. Or you hold space for them. That tends to be like the mother-in-laws, the husbands, the partners, or whatever. Or that person kind of gradually drifts out of your life. That tends to be more the friends, the acquaintances, the people we're energetically not meant to be aligned with. But it is very, very challenging to stay very, very present when we are with family members. And I was actually watching an Eckhart Tolle video specifically on that topic. And he was explaining about when you can actually stay very, very present, your energetic field is so powerful. And actually those people around you will start raising towards it. But it's a practice and it is a discipline. None of this comes naturally to our brains. Our brains would rather be unconscious, hey?
Yeah. Well, and for a long time, I couldn't figure out what it is that was dragging me down, right? So it's like I'm always I annoy my husband with the glass half full person, and it was like I was struggling with being able to keep that glass half full. And so it was like, okay, so like I said, that was on Friday, was like, so it's a new chapter. And then again today, it was like, okay, so like this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. So it's like, okay.
There was a lot of letting go over the weekend, wasn't there, with that full moon? People were just like, just let it all go. Actually, just everything go, please. Just take it all.
It's not mine anymore. Take it. And it,
just go. It wasn't mine to belong with, to begin with either. Just take it, please.
So tell me a little bit more about how people work with you.
Okay, so I have my signature. Oh gosh, I've completely gone in the dark. There we go. Let's see if that comes back. I've got my 16-week signature program. That's private coaching, one-on-one, once a week. I'll hold your hand. I'll take you on this beautiful journey through your authenticity, find out what it is you really want and why, and then how to call it all in. And we look at your purpose, we look at your values, we look at exactly who you are, all the nonsense you believe. I also teach a very authentic and highly transformational form of tapping, which really shifts feelings and thoughts and beliefs fast. We also do a bit of NLP to really shift people, so energetically they start vibrating at a higher capacity. So I do that as a 16-week coaching program. I also teach tapping separately. So I have clients that just do the tapping. So, we work through a particular problem, a situation that they want to move on from, and we really go into the deep, dark, dirty stuff and get rid of it. I also have a brand new online version of my empowerment coaching journey. So that's a 12-week module, obviously significantly more available to people. So you can purchase that on my website. And I also do like little mini 6-week courses. I've got a beautiful 6-week course called Love Yourself First, which is all the inner child work, really developing a radical self-love for yourself. So you're not wanting to run away and escape from people and, kids and situations. You're actually really developing the most important relationship you'll ever have and sort of nurturing your human and soul and bringing them together. So that's another beautiful course I do. So, but I'm very vocal and very visible on Facebook. And I've got my website where people can contact me. And yeah, my mission in life is just to teach not just midlife women, but everybody to live from their, their consciousness and to live from their heart, because I know that's what brings joy and happiness. That's what I do. This is my purpose. And I could do this 24/7.
Beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And so for wherever it is that you're listening or watching this this podcast, Di's contact information and her website is in the description, and so really easy to reach out to her. And I'm looking forward to reading your book. And so you were explaining a little bit more about the book and things like that. I went out and purchased it, so it's on its way.
Thank you. Oh wow, you're on it.
Well, and like I said, it really was that huge attraction. It was like, oh, okay, I need to connect with that book. And
yeah, and I've had a couple of people that have bought the book, read through it, and just gone, and now I understand the concept. Okay, I get it. And then just go, but I actually need you to guide me through it. So it's going to work its magic in different ways. And, some people are able to go and do it on their own. Other people really do need the accountability and let me pull you out of the trenches. Here you go. But I do it all from a place of love and nurturing, and like I'm laughing about in my sunroom. But this room is like a Pandora's box. And people come, they always sort of like fall in here and just go, this is my favorite hour and a half of the week, because it's loving, it's graceful, it's nurturing, it's supportive. And sometimes it's the first time people are really heard to actually talk to someone like you or me and just go, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm very humbled by that. That's, I'm very grateful that I'm able to provide that space for people. So it's very healing.
And it really is. And it is that opportunity to be able to have that, be able to hold that space and be in that energy of just being held energetically.
Yeah. It's just love and connection at the end of the day, isn't it? That's actually what we're all searching for, whether it's on a friend's or a spouse or a partner level, but ultimately we're all humans. We all want to feel love and to give love and to serve and contribute, but we are just not taught that in the collective belief system. So my job and your job is to rip that off and teach people really how to do it.
Absolutely. And so thank you so much, Di. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure that people heard before we leave?
I just think it's, I'm quite noisy and loud, as you can hear. I'm British. I really love all humans. And when you can get to a place of pure acceptance of self, which took me 44 odd years, I came from a very lack mentality and never good enough, and you get to a place where you are accepting yourself, but actually you can practice forgiveness towards others and towards yourself. It's just the most releasing place to be, and that's why you can surrender. That's why you then do understand that life happens through you, and you are just a vehicle to bring whatever knowledge, skill, gift, talent it is to the world, and actually to sit in that place, very humbled and very grateful. So thank you for this. It was just so amazing to connect with you, Rollie. It really was. Thank you.
And it's incredible that you're here. And if we would have had this conversation on Wednesday, the outcome would definitely not have been the same, right? So no. I have not released. So in terms of examples and conversations, right? So I would have still been in that space. And so
exactly. Maybe we need to speak once a month and talk about what's the moon done to us this.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, it's wonderful to connect. Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining. And for everyone else, I will catch you again next week, actually tomorrow, for another Chatting with Wisdom. So I will chat with you guys later. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.